Hey, Campbellsville, we wanted to continue today with just the thought about how we can continue to learn from this crazy year that we've been in instead of just running away from it. You know, when you get to the end of a year, there's this idea of a start, of a new start, and you've heard it a lot throughout this entire year of just trying to get 2020 over with. But the truth is, you'll wake up in 2021 and it'll be a new day, but a lot of the same things at play. And what the real challenge is, or the real opportunity is to learn from this year and not just run from it. And we want to see you grow. And so you heard from Sarah Begley earlier this week, and you're going to hear from some other people on campus throughout the next few days about some other areas and things that we've walked through this year. But one that I just wanted to touch on real briefly today is the challenge of connection. I know this year has challenged us in a lot of ways in regards to how we're connected to one another and how we do that on a normal basis. The ways that we normally are with one another or get to be around each other have been challenged and changed and adjusted and adapted over and over and over again. And that's produced a lot of questions. I've heard a lot of questions from students this year. Questions like, how do I still make friends? How do I even get to know who someone is, even when you are around them, how the mask kind of separates you, how to maybe connect to a body of faith, a church in town. How do you do these things? How do you make these connections? And it's been a challenge. The challenge is real, and it's challenged our initiative. One of the biggest pieces of advice I give freshmen as they come into the college experience is to do what they can to take initiative and to be intentional about their time. And this year has really challenged that for all of us. It's the default position is for us to fall back and to wait for things to come to us. But I want to encourage you to continue to find ways to connect even in the midst of a changing and developing and challenging time. You've heard us mention a lot of ways to do that as in regards to Campbellsville and the university. One of the most productive ways at the moment to make connections and to connect is through the university app. All of you have utilized this in a lot of different ways, but I want to encourage you to not lose touch with that, as it will continue to be a great opportunity. We're posting things about stress busters next week. There's a tile that you can go in and do some virtual stress busters. Continue to use things like the university app, which also provide avenues to connect with groups and organizations, the various clubs that are on campus. Campus clubs are a great way to connect while you're on campus. And it might be, a challenge to connect with a church or a body of faith during this time, but there have also been many doors open that haven't been before virtually. And I would encourage you, wherever you find yourself, whether it's back home or maybe it's in regards to even when you come back on campus here in Campbellsville or wherever that might be, to connect, with a body of faith and to maybe do that virtually, to connect with church members or those who are there. I know that those groups of people have been monumental in my life. But I real briefly wanted to give you 3 words of encouragement. And these are 3 words that I gave my staff as we went into this year, knowing that our job would be a challenge, because a big part of our job is to help you connect and enjoy life with others. And so the first word that I gave them, and I'm going to give you as well, is goal. To remember the goal. To think about the goal that you have in life and where and how you are accomplishing that goal. Because when we are aimless and we don't have an idea of what our life is to be about or what we're shooting for, then when things become difficult and when there are challenges like this year, we will even lose track of where we're going and what direction we have, and sometimes accomplish very little. And the second word I gave them was to be flexible. When you think about athletics and you think about really overall health, flexibility is so important. And in this case, I was talking about being flexible to be able to change and adapt. And it's hard for us to do that. We like things a certain way sometimes. We like to do life a certain way. Maybe you came into college thinking that you were going to experience this or experience that, and it turned out just a little bit different. Maybe you had goals of connecting with certain groups of people and that didn't happen. An example of being flexible in that situation might be, ask yourself the question, who are you around right now? Because of the situation that's occurred, who has this placed you around? Early on, back in the spring, for me, one of those things is that this situation put me with my direct family a lot more than sometimes I get to do, because I'm usually running all over the place and doing lots of different things. And so how did I take advantage of that? Well, now I'm around these people a little more than sometimes normal. What am I going to do to connect and to be there? That flexibility in life, yet having that same goal is important. And the third word I gave them was pivot. And when you think of the word pivot, it's the ability to change direction quickly. And for us, as a staff, that was important for us to go in, remembering our goal, being ready to be flexible and change, but then be able to make those changes quickly, to pivot in a new direction. And that's a very good thing to have as an athlete, to be able to pivot and move fast and change direction quickly and abruptly. And I want you to think about that as you look to connect and you look to learn from this really odd year in a lot of ways, especially in regards to COVID. Think about, what is your goal, and what have you been doing to stay focused on that goal? How have you been challenged to be flexible, and in what ways are you needing to continue to practice flexibility? And are you ready? Even when things change, and even though we have to be flexible, we can prepare in such a way that it allows us to pivot and change so that we waste less time and we make use of the time that we have. We want you to know from Student Activities that we're here to continue to help you and help you grow, and we want to see you connect in a lot of ways. And so never hesitate to reach out with questions, but continue to pay attention to the things that are on the app or through our social media. As you usher in a new year, let us not forget this year or run from it, but let us learn from it. Be sure to check out our guests in the next few days, some other good things they're going to be talking about, how we can continue to learn from 2020.